There's a lot of hype these days about raising smart kids, and the academic requirements for school are getting much more intense much earlier. But if you want to raise a smart child, there is actually something that is just as important, or sometimes even more important than IQ, and that is emotional intelligence, also known as EQ. The scary thing is that recent studies have shown emotional intelligence to be on the decline in recent years. So how do we combat this? Teaching emotions early on in a child's life can lead to outcomes like the ability to have empathy and understanding for others, better communication skills, stronger relationships, better self-awareness, increased mental health, and so much more. In today's video, I'm sharing the benefits of a helpful tool that you can easily implement in your home in order to teach emotional intelligence to your child from a very young age, and that is a calming corner. You'll also learn how and why I ditch timeouts in my home, and what works even better for a toddler experiencing big feelings. So if you want to know more, then stay tuned. So what exactly is a calming corner? A calming corner is simply a designated space in your home where your child can go to practice noticing and identifying their feelings and calming their bodies. Now, this sounds simple, but there's actually a lot more to it. How you set up your calming corner and what you actually do in there makes all the difference. So let's talk about some of the main benefits of a calming corner, and then I'm going to quickly show you how to set one up in your home today. The first benefit of a calming corner is that it provides a place for children to manage or regulate their emotions effectively. By providing a quiet, peaceful space to calm down, kids can regain control of their emotions, reducing instances of outbursts or aggressive behavior. Now, it's important to note that you as the parent will be a very important part of this in the beginning. But as your child grows, this will be a safe place for them to self-regulate or manage their emotions on their own. Calming corners also encourage mindfulness, which can help kids focus on the present moment, fostering a better understanding of their feelings and reactions. Mindfulness is simply the process of being aware of what's going on with your body and your emotions. And while it may sound obvious, a lot of us were raised to disregard our feelings or shove them down, which caused us as adults to be unaware. So you might not even be aware that you're unaware. A child can also use a calming corner to increase focus and attention. This can be especially helpful if the child is feeling overwhelmed or overstimulated. A calming corner is a fantastic place for children to learn about and identify feelings, which is also known as emotional literacy. This not only helps them with their own emotions, but can also help them to recognize emotions in others, which brings me to my next benefit, and that is empathy. When a child has a good understanding of emotions, they are empathetic towards others, or they have an understanding of how someone may feel in a given situation. There are tons of other benefits like improved mental and physical health, resilience, improved sleep and learning outcomes, reduced anxiety, enhanced communication skills. But the last one I'm really going to touch on is improved behavior. When children learn about emotions and they have a trusted adult that can co-regulate with them, more on what that means in a minute, they learn to be emotionally secure and to effectively regulate their emotions. They also learn that the world is a safe place because they have a connected, trusted caregiver to help them through their big emotions when they're young, so they can eventually learn to manage them on their own. So oftentimes you'll find that this leads to a decrease in tantrums, or at least the intensity or duration of them. Now, this brings me into why I ditched timeouts in the first place and why we now practice time-ins in our calming corner. Okay, so what the heck is a time-in? Well, it depends on the age of your child. So if you're a subscriber on my channel, then you most likely have a toddler or a preschooler. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go click that button right now. A time-in is when you help your child with their big feelings through something called co-regulation. So what co-regulation is simply a person being able to help another individual regulate their emotions and their nervous system by staying calm themselves and supporting the other person. So in this case, we're talking about a regulated parent and a dysregulated child, but this can be done with other adults too. It doesn't have to be just kids. So the parent remains calm while their child is having a tantrum or a meltdown and is able to simply be present and support their child either physically or emotionally through these feelings. Now, Before I go any further, I want to note that this can be extremely difficult at first, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. If this is new to you and you're having a hard time with it, then I highly recommend that you reach out to a parenting coach. And I don't care if it's me or someone else, but get help, because they will be able to help you through this process and uncover things that may be in the way for you. And remember, you may not even be aware that you're unaware. The reason I say this is because being able to remain calm while your child is dysregulated is not an option if you want them to build their emotional intelligence. They need a calm, regulated adult to help them when they're experiencing big feelings in order to learn how to do this themselves later on. Successful co-regulation is how a child learns self-regulation. And don't think you can just fake being calm either, because your nervous systems communicate and your child can actually sense when you're not truly calm. So please reach out and get help from a parenting coach. I am not just saying that because I'm a coach. I am saying this because so many parents don't even realize why they can't regulate their emotions, and a coach can help you find the reason and work through it. And I'm speaking from experience as someone who was coached through this herself. But anyway, I'll get down from my soapbox now. So back to time ins. The first step is to co-regulate with your child. Once you've helped them to calm down, then you'll move into the calming corner for a time in. So I always recommend having visuals on the walls. This will help your child learn about and be able to identify their emotions and how they're feeling. I created these posters myself, and I do have them available as a digital download on my website, along with a free mini course that takes you step by step on how to set up your calming corner. You can find out more information in the description box below, but they are different from other calming corner posters that you may have seen in that they are specifically made for young children, mainly ages 1 to 7. So I have included an option with real photos if you'd like, since it is often easier for younger children to read emotions on real faces when starting out. And then I also have an illustrated option in the pack if you prefer that as well. I've also kept the choice of emotions limited so that it's not too overwhelming when your child is first starting to learn about emotions. So the first thing I'll do is I'll have my sons identify how they're feeling by pointing to a face on the poster. Now, I have a 3.5-year-old and a 1.5-year-old. So this looks different for both of them, but I do go through this process with each of them. My older son, Luke, will pick out his emotion that he's feeling, and then we'll move to the calming strategy poster, and he'll pick a strategy to use to help him calm down even more.
Yeah, this polo really tickle.
It does tickle. My younger son, Nolan, needs a little more support with this, so I will usually point to an emotion, usually sad or angry, and say to him, "Oh, are you feeling sad because we have to stop playing?" or whatever else is going on at the time. And then I'll help him pick a strategy. But it's crazy to see how fast he's even catching on, being only 19 months. And I started this with him when he was around 17 months. So this is a brief overview of how we do a time in. When your child is older, they'll be able to use the calming corner on their own when they're feeling frustrated or angry, or even when they recognize their feelings intensifying. They can use this as a preventative measure to help them from letting things get out of control. So in a nutshell, a time in is a way to help your child through their big feelings using a positive discipline method. In contrast, a classic time out is a punishment tactic used to isolate children when they've shown undesirable behavior from the parent's point of view. So timeouts can be less effective for several reasons. First, they can inadvertently lead to feelings of isolation and shame in the child, which can actually reinforce negative behavior rather than address the underlying issues, because all behavior is a form of communication. So misbehavior is simply a child expressing an unmet need. Children may interpret the isolation as a form of rejection, which can harm their self-esteem and hinder their emotional development, which, as we learned, is the opposite of what we're trying to do. Additionally, timeouts don't provide opportunities for open communication between the parent and child. This lack of conversation means that children may not even fully understand why their behavior was inappropriate or how to handle similar situations better in the future. By focusing solely on punishment, timeouts may fail to teach important life skills that time-ins do, such as empathy, emotional regulation, and effective problem solving, which are all essential for for a child's long-term success and well-being. Okay, so I hope by now I've piqued your interest and you're ready to set up your calming corner. So how do you do it? I'm gonna give you a brief overview to get started, but I do go into some more detail in that free mini course that comes with the posters. First, you want to pick a spot for it. I recommend getting your child involved in this if they're old enough. Ask them where they think it should be and take their ideas into consideration. But ultimately, you want to pick a spot that's quiet in a low traffic area, but highly visible. You don't have to put it in a corner, but that tends to be a good spot because it's cozy and out of the way. So we have ours in a corner by the library in the playroom, which I love because I keep books on emotions on the lower level of the bookshelf, so they're easily accessible when my kids are using the calming corner. I also like this spot because it encourages them to be in there when they're feeling calm. And this is something to keep in mind too. The calming corner should be used when children are having all feelings, not just feelings of sadness or anger or frustration. You want to encourage your child to spend time there and get comfortable with it. It should be an inviting space that they seek out and enjoy going to. We also have one upstairs in my older son Luke's room that is in this little nook right behind his door in his bedroom, which is a nice little cozy spot. So once you pick your spot, I definitely recommend having some kind of visual aids in there for emotions so that your child can identify what they are feeling. Again, you can grab these posters for only $7 right now on my website. And what's awesome is they're a digital download. So you could just print them out right at home, set up your calming corner in a few minutes. I've included 2 versions of emotions posters, one with real photos and one with illustrations, a calming strategies poster with 12 different calming techniques to choose from, 5 different My Calming Corner signs so you can choose which one you like best, 5 different My Calming Tool signs, and the free mini course teaching you how to set everything up and the foundational principles of positive parenting. You're going to want to make the spot very inviting. So you could place some stuffed animals, pillows, or comfy beanbag chairs in your calming corner too. One of the strategies is to use a calming tool. So I have a whole toolbox of calming tools that is only accessible to my kids when they use the calming corner. I do go into detail about what tools we use and why in the mini course that comes with the calming corner kit, but you can check out the link below if you're interested in seeing what they are. Now, setting up a space with posters and tools is just the start. In my mini course, you will learn exactly what to do to help your child with emotional regulation in the calming corner. Like I said, you'll also get a more in-depth walkthrough of the tools we use and suggestions for how to set up your space, all in less than 30 minutes. Again, this mini course comes free when you purchase my Calming Corner downloadable poster kit, all for only $7. So definitely check out the link in the description to get your Calming Corner set up today. Let me know in the comments if you're gonna set up a calming corner or if you already use one and how it's helped your family. This has seriously changed the game when it comes to disciplining my kids and helping them work through their big feelings. Be sure to click that like button if you found this video helpful and subscribe for more tips to make your parenting life with littles easier. Thanks for being here. I'll see you soon.